Be kind, don't be nice. In this video, I just want to describe a certain misconception that most people have when it comes to being nice in relationships, such as their intimate relationships and their social relationships, so that maybe you can get a firmer understanding of how to navigate these relationships so you can be treated with more respect and have more fulfilling relationships overall. Whenever I've been nice in any sort of relationship that I've had, whether that be platonic or intimate, I've always been taken for a dickhead. The reason why this happens is because we are all opportunistic creatures. Whenever you're too nice to somebody, whenever you show to somebody that you're willing to bend at their every beck and every call, what they're going to do is that they're eventually going to take advantage of it. And the funny thing is that most people will say, oh, well, I'll find somebody that doesn't take advantage, not everybody's shit. It's not about being shit. It's about simply just being a human. One thing I've always taken away from life at this point is just expect people to be people. It only takes one day for you to then realize that somebody that's always been so upcoming and forthcoming about your niceness, and then they eventually take the piss out of it. You'll see it maybe little tiny behaviors where they ask you to do a bit more at work, or they ask you to do a bit more at home, or they speak to you in a type of way where you don't do something that you usually do. That's because you're being nice. You're being far too nice. And I think one of the most difficult things when it comes to having a conversation about this is relationships. Relationships are supposed to be 50-50. You're supposed to give and you're supposed to take in a sort of balance. But you know for a fact that in the way things work, 50-50 relationships are more just a theory, a concept. You're always going to have days where you're going to have to give 70, someone's have to give 30, then you have to reciprocate. They give 70, you give 30. But when that's more nice, they give their 70 and they take their 30 a whole lot more often than they're supposed to. And as a result, it becomes a norm. It becomes a faculty within their relationship. So when that person doesn't see you giving your 70 as you usually do, and they're not giving their 30 or they give a bit more, there's a power imbalance. Somebody feels like they're being taken for a dickhead, they're being taken for a ride. So whenever you're in some sort of platonic or intimate relationship, always ask yourself, are you doing more than you need to? Or are you receiving less than you should? Because if the person is giving you less than they should, they probably know that they are. And I think one of the things that runs through a person's mind that's taking a lot more than they should, and I've been that person, so I'm not even going to act like I'm any sort of perfect being, is this person is great, this person is fantastic, they do everything for me. And I don't think it's necessarily something that's out of malice. I think it's more that something that's out of, I'd say, one, lack of communication, and two, a lack of truly understanding what somebody is giving out to somebody else. So if I'll give you an example of that, let's say, for example, love languages, if you believe in that or not. People have different ways of showing love and showing affection, how they may contribute to somebody's life. So for example, let's say I'm speaking to somebody and the way I show love is through acts of service, but somebody doesn't see that as love. They see that as something that's mandatory. They see their love language as, quality time. And so if you're not spending quality time with your wife and or girlfriend and or friends, but you're giving them, you're cooking food for them, you're cleaning up the house for them, acts of service stuff, they might see that as you doing their 30-70. One thing I'll always say, regardless of communication, is that you should be kind. Never be too nice, even when it comes to certain things where there might be that misunderstanding with communication. Always have a certain level of morality about yourself, especially when you're dealing with other people, when you're dealing with other people in relationships as well. Treat them how you'd want to be treated, but don't give them everything. Do not give them the world. Because if you give someone the world, all they'll want is space. Remember, never forget who you are.